It was 5:42 a.m. when Serenity Blake finally stopped running. Her car sat at a red light at the edge of town, the sky still dark, the world asleep, except her heart, which thrashed like a bird desperate to escape a cage. Her wedding dress, the one she never walked down the aisle in, lay crumpled in the passenger seat like an abandoned ghost. Rain slid down her windshield. Her tears slid down her cheeks. But for the first time in years, Serenity was smiling. After years of trying to please everyone, her voice trembled, steadying into resolve. I walked away. From love, from pain, from everything that broke me. The light turned green. She drove. Not toward safety, not toward certainty, but toward peace. 6 months earlier, the sanctuary smelled like old hymn books and cheap perfume. Soft music played as Serenity stepped into Restoration Tabernacle Church. They told her here she would find purpose, family, belonging. And she believed them. Pastor Shepherd stood at the pulpit, smiling with a warmth that could melt glaciers. But Serenity would later learn some smiles are just teeth. Welcome home, he said, extending his hand. Serenity didn't know it yet, but this place would cost her everything. Serenity found the church by accident. It was supposed to be temporary, a visit, not a lifetime. But the first week turned into 2, then 8, then an entire season of her life. People hugged her like she was oxygen. They said things like, "You are chosen. You have a calling. God led you here." It felt like love, like family, like finding water after wandering through a desert. Brother Saint, the worship leader with a halo of curls and a voice smoother than silk, rushed up to her after service. "You have to join the worship team," he insisted, eyes gleaming. "You sing like freedom." Serenity laughed shyly. "I'm not sure if I'm that good." He grabbed her hand. "Trust me. God told me." Those 4 words became the chains she wouldn't notice until they tightened. Sister Angel, whose smile could slice a soul without leaving bruises, leaned in after rehearsal and whispered, "People talk, Serenity. They think Pastor Shepherd favors you." She said it like a warning, but her eyes said, "I want to see you fall." Serenity brushed it off. "Church people don't destroy each other," she told herself. Right? One Sunday after service, Serenity's best friend, Harmony James, joined the church. Serenity was thrilled. Finally, they could grow spiritually together. But Harmony changed. Fast. She became the pastor's shadow, Sister Angel's echo, Brother Saint's gossip partner. Serenity dismissed the tension growing between them. "I'm imagining things," she told herself. But imagination turned into intuition when she overheard it. "Serenity wants to take over," Harmony whispered. "She just wants attention." Serenity froze in the stairwell. Her heart cracked. Harmony's voice, the same one that once comforted her, now sharpened into a weapon. "People don't always stab you in the back. Sometimes they stare you in the eyes while they twist the knife." And that was only the beginning. If evil ever wanted camouflage, it would wear perfume, pearls, and a gentle church lady smile. Sister Angel was the kind of woman who could look at another woman's outfit and compliment it while tearing down her soul in the same sentence. "Your dress is nice," she would say with a soft voice, "if you're going for simple." Her words were sugar-dipped poison. Serenity tried not to take things personally, but Sister Angel studied her like prey. One Thursday night after worship rehearsal, Serenity stayed back to organize sheets of music. She hummed quietly, enjoying the stillness, until she felt a presence behind her. Sister Angel. Her perfume hit first, roses with a hint of something sour. "You know," Angel said, drawing out the words slowly, "there are people talking." Serenity tensed. Talking about what? Angel smiled, the corners of her lips stretching into something that never reached her eyes. "About how Pastor Shepherd seems unusually interested in you." Serenity blinked, confused. "He's just been encouraging. That's his job." Angel laughed, a sound like ice cracking. "Oh, sweetheart, men of God are still men." Serenity felt her stomach clench. Angel leaned in, her voice barely above a whisper. "Women like you don't stay unnoticed. Or unpunished." Serenity's heart hammered. Was that a threat or a promise? Later that night, Serenity tried to brush it off. She told herself Angel was just insecure, territorial. But the seed had been planted, and seeds, once watered by fear, become forests. Sunday morning. The choir was electric. The music rolled like thunder. Brother Saint led worship like a rock star, sweat glittering on his brow as he shouted, "Give God a shout!" The congregation erupted. Serenity, standing in the second row, closed her eyes and lifted her hands, losing herself in worship. Worship was her refuge. When she sang, the world felt pure again. But suddenly, a hand grabbed her elbow. "Sister Angel, Pastor Shepherd wants you to sit this one out," Angel whispered. "What? Why?" Serenity whispered back. Her lips curved. "God told me you're drawing attention to yourself." Serenity stepped back, stunned. "I wasn't doing anything wrong." Angel's voice dropped, sharp as a blade. "Humility isn't something you say you have. It's something you prove." She guided Serenity off the stage like a misbehaving child. The entire congregation watched. Brother Saint shot her a smug look and kept singing. Serenity sat in the front pew, cheeks burning, humiliation pulsing like heat beneath her skin. The lyrics, "God is fighting for us," mocked her, because in that moment, Serenity felt alone, abandoned, exiled from a stage she never asked to be on. Not all abuse leaves bruises. Sometimes it leaves you questioning your own worth. Meanwhile, Pastor Shepherd called a meeting with Serenity later that day. His office smelled of cologne and old carpet. Family photos lined the wall. Him smiling with his wife and 2 kids. He gestured for Serenity to sit. "I've noticed tension lately," he said soothingly. "People are threatened by your anointing." "Threatened? By me?" He leaned closer. "You're special, Serenity. God has his hand on you." For a moment she felt seen. Then his tone shifted. "But gifts must be handled with order. I need you to keep a lower profile. Stop singing too expressively. Don't overshadow the others. And don't get too close to Brother Saint. He's impressionable." The air thickened. It dawned on her. This wasn't correction. This was control. "Yes, Pastor," she whispered, confused and hurt. As she stood to leave, he gently grabbed her wrist. His touch lingered too long. Serenity froze. His smile was calm, too calm. Submission shows maturity. Her skin crawled. Outside the office, she bumped into her best friend Harmony. Her expression shifted, a flash of guilt, then coldness. "You should be careful," Harmony murmured. "You're making people uncomfortable." Serenity swallowed. "The church, or just you?" Harmony walked away, without answering. 2 weeks later, it started like tiny sparks. People at church grew distant. Conversations stopped when Serenity walked past. Her phone buzzed less and less. Then sparks became flames. Her boss at work pulled her into a meeting. "Is everything okay? We've received complaints that you're distracted, unfocused." Complaints? From who? Then her mother called, her voice tight. "We heard from Sister Angel that you're in rebellion. Are you living right, Serenity?" Her heart twisted. How did Angel get to her family? And the worst blow came from Ethan, her fiancé. He texted, "Pastor Shepard wants to talk to us about our relationship. Says we need counseling. Something about your attitude." My attitude? Serenity felt her world tilt sideways. Her fiancé, her family, her job, her church. They were all being fed a narrative about her. A false one. Someone wanted her isolated. Someone wanted her obedient. Someone wanted her silent. But the day would come when Serenity wouldn't stay silent anymore. The day she would stop fighting for people who were never fighting for her. The day she would choose peace over people. And the day she walked away, everything and everyone would be revealed. The following Sunday, the church was unusually tense, like the air itself knew a storm was coming. Serenity stepped inside and immediately felt eyes track her like security cameras. Conversations clipped shut, smiles tightened. Even the walls seemed to whisper. Harmony stood near the front, surrounded by people. She spotted Serenity, but looked away, deliberately, like Serenity was a stain she hoped no one noticed. Then, Sister Angel glided over, voice soft as silk. "Oh, Serenity! Pastor Shepard would like to speak with you privately." Serenity forced a steady breath. "Right now?" Angel smiled. God told him. Pastor Shepard sat behind his desk, hands steepled, eyes heavy with fake concern. "I've been praying," he began slowly, "and God revealed something." Serenity braced herself. He leaned forward. "You are a distraction to this church." The words hit like a slap. "A distraction?" Serenity whispered. "What did I do?" He exhaled dramatically, like he was the wounded one. "You draw attention. People focus more on you than the message, especially Brother Saint and Ethan." There it was, her fiancé's name. "What about Ethan?" Serenity asked carefully. Pastor Shepard stood and walked around the desk, standing too close, the way someone does when they want power. "He confided in me," Shepard said. "He's unsure about you. He said you're getting prideful." Serenity's heartbeat stumbled. "Ethan said that?" "Oh, yes." Shepard clasped his hands behind his back. "Your fiancé wants a submissive wife, a woman who follows, not one who challenges." Serenity felt the floor tilt. But he wasn't done. He leaned in, voice dropping. "If you cannot surrender fully to the authority God placed over you, you will lose everything." Something inside Serenity snapped. A thin line pulled too tight for too long. She stood. Her voice was steady, cold, controlled. "I came here to worship God, not to worship you." His face flickered, just for a second, into something darker. "Be careful, Serenity. You don't want to make enemies in the house of God." Later that week, things escalated. Harmony stopped answering Serenity's calls. People from Serenity's job suddenly grew cold. Her supervisor said, "We heard from someone at your church that you're struggling with your mental stability. Take care of yourself." Mental stability? Who would say that? And then the final strike. Ethan. He arrived at Serenity's apartment unannounced, jaw clenched, eyes storm dark. "We need to talk," he said. She sat across from him, heart pounding. "What's going on?" He inhaled sharply. "Pastor Shepard says you're manipulative. Sister Angel says you crave attention. Harmony says you're jealous of her." Serenity felt physically ill. "Ethan, please, you know me." But he shook his head. "I need someone who represents peace, not chaos." Her voice trembled. "So you listen to them? Over me?" He didn't answer. Silence can be louder than words. He took the engagement ring. The sound of metal hitting wood was the sound of her heart breaking. He left. She sank to the floor. And for the first time, Serenity Blake, the woman who tried to please everyone, realized they never wanted her to belong. They wanted her to obey. When someone is determined to misunderstand you, even your silence becomes a sin. And the church wasn't done. Not even close. Because wolves don't stop when they smell weakness. They hunt. And Serenity was their newest target. But what they didn't know was that she was about to stop being prey. She was about to walk away. And when she did, every hidden truth would finally come to light.
2 days after the engagement ended, the ring-shaped indentations still marked Serenity's skin. Not physically, emotionally. She kept staring at her hand like she was looking at a battlefield, a place where promises died. Her apartment felt too quiet, too still, like the aftermath of an earthquake. She could still hear Ethan's last words echoing, "I need someone who represents peace, not chaos." The irony was bitter. He helped create the chaos. Sometimes the people who accuse you of chaos are the ones building the storm around you. Serenity avoided church that week. She needed air, not manipulation disguised as accountability. But the following Sunday, she forced herself to return. She wouldn't let humans push her away from God. She walked through the sanctuary doors, shoulders straight, head held high. But whispers followed her like shadows. There she is, the prideful one. Ethan deserves better. Voices, low and sharp, slid under her skin. Sister Angel appeared like smoke. "Oh, Serenity." Her tone dripped pity. "So brave of you to come back here, after everything." Serenity exhaled slowly. "I don't need bravery to walk into a church." Angel's smile thinned. "Oh, but you do. Especially alone." That word stung more than it should have. Alone. Angel leaned in, voice lower. "You know, Pastor Shepard said Ethan is healing beautifully without you. He's even considering leading a new small group." Serenity blinked. "Healing? Ethan dumped her because the church told him to." Angel turned away, dropping her final blow without looking back. Men in ministry need women who know how to submit. Serenity clenched her fists, heat rising through her chest. She wanted to scream, to cry, to defend herself. But instead, she whispered back, "Submission is mutual. Control is not." Angel stopped walking. Her shoulders stiffened, but Serenity didn't stay to watch her reaction. She walked to her seat. For the first time, she felt the shift in her spirit. Something inside her, the version of her that begged for acceptance, was dying, and something stronger was taking its place. Moments later in worship service, the lights dimmed, music swelled. Brother Saint stepped onto the stage. He glanced at Serenity with a smirk. "We have a new song today," he announced into the microphone. "It's called Pride Comes Before the Fall." A few people chuckled. A deliberate jab. Serenity's chest tightened, but she stayed seated. The lyrics blasted through the speakers. "Lord, humble the arrogant, tear down their walls." People lifted their hands. They worshipped to a song written to humiliate her. Suddenly, from the pulpit, Pastor Shepherd spoke. "Serenity, could you stand, please?" Every head turned. Blood rushed to her ears. "God has placed something on my heart," Shepherd continued. "I sense rebellion in your spirit." Her heart dropped. In front of the entire congregation, Shepherd stretched out his hand towards her, as if casting a spell. "Church, extend your hands towards Serenity. She needs deliverance." Deliverance? For what? The room closed in. Hands rose toward her like a jury preparing to sentence her. Serenity's voice shook. "I don't need deliverance. I need respect." Gasps rippled across the sanctuary. Pastor Shepherd's eyes hardened. "Sit down, then." His tone was laced with venom. Ethan, sitting on the front row beside Sister Angel, didn't even look at her. Serenity sat. Her heart didn't. After service, she tried to leave quickly, head down, purse gripped tight. But someone grabbed her arm. Ethan. He looked conflicted. "He didn't know he was going to do that," he said quietly. Serenity swallowed her tears. "You stood there and said nothing." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck, avoiding eye contact. "Pastor Shepherd thinks you're going through a season of correction." She stared at him, stunned. "Ethan, they humiliated me, publicly." He exhaled. "If you would just stop resisting spiritual authority." Serenity snapped. "I'm resisting abuse. There's a difference." Ethan looked offended. "God put Shepherd over us." "No," Serenity whispered. "You put him over me." Silence. Then something inside her rose. Not anger this time, but clarity. "I will not lose myself to keep people who enjoy watching me break." Ethan stepped back, face unreadable. "So, that's it?" Serenity nodded. "That was it the moment you let them speak for you." She walked away. For real this time. Ethan didn't follow. He just watched her leave, like she was the villain in a story he never fully understood. Some crowns are made of gold. Others are made of ego. Either way, Serenity stopped bowing. But the war was far from over, because when Serenity walked out that door, the church followed her into her personal life, her job, her family, her friendships. They had started a campaign. Destroy her credibility, break her spirit, make her crawl back. But Serenity wasn't crawling anymore. She was learning to stand. And soon, she would learn to walk away. Not silently, not apologetically, but with peace. 3 days after the public humiliation, Serenity sat inside her car in the parking lot of her job, hands trembling around the steering wheel. Her body was exhausted. Her soul was bruised. She had barely slept. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw hands stretching toward her, heard whispers, felt eyes dissecting her. But she refused to let the church invade her workplace, too. This was her sanctuary now. Or so she thought. As Serenity walked inside, her coworker Kyra intercepted her near the elevators. "Hey, just giving you a heads up," Kyra said gently. "HR wants to meet with you." Serenity blinked. "HR? Why?"
Kyra hesitated, biting her lip. You'll understand when you get in there. The elevator doors closed and Serenity felt her stomach drop. The HR manager, Ms. Jenkins, greeted Serenity with a stiff, overly polite smile. Please sit. Serenity obeyed, confusion tightening her chest. We've received a complaint, Miss Jenkins began. Serenity's pulse spiked. A complaint? About what? Miss Jenkins glanced at a printed sheet on her desk. That you've been emotionally unstable, possibly dealing with delusions and bringing spiritual conflict into the workplace. Serenity stared at her. Emotionally unstable? Delusions? That language was familiar. Too familiar. Ms. Jenkins continued, the report says you believe people are speaking against your destiny and trying to destroy your calling. Serenity felt ice crawl into her veins. She never said those words to anyone at work. Only one person knew that part of her life. Harmony. Her best friend. The one who joined the church after Serenity. Serenity's voice was barely a whisper. Who filed the complaint? Miss Jenkins folded her hands. They didn't sign their name. Anonymous. Cowardly. Calculated. Serenity took a deep breath, forcing her voice to be steady. I am not emotionally unstable. I am being targeted by a group of people from my church. I don't bring my religion into work. Miss Jenkins softened. Look, maybe take some time off. We care about you. Serenity swallowed a scream. She wasn't losing just a fiancé or a church. She was losing her livelihood. Character assassination is murder without fingerprints. When people can't control your peace, they try to control your reputation. When Serenity left the HR office, she couldn't breathe. She leaned against the hallway wall, eyes stinging. She reached for her phone and texted the only person she thought she could still trust. We need to talk. Are you free? Busy. In a meeting with Pastor Shepherd. Pastor. Again. Serenity's fingers shook. Did you tell anyone at my job about my personal life? The 3 blinking dots appeared. Then, girl, it's not that deep. I was just sharing because I care. Serenity froze. Sharing because I care. She felt bile rise in her throat. You shared private conversations. Well, Pastor Shepherd said exposure brings deliverance. You should be thanking me. Thanking her. Serenity called. Harmony answered on the first ring, voice low and full of contempt. You're embarrassing yourself. Everyone sees it. You can't take correction. Serenity, she whispered, I came to this church to find God, not lose myself. Harmony laughed, a laugh she didn't recognize. You're jealous. She snapped. Pastor Shepherd sees greatness in me. That's why he's investing in me. Investing. That word stung. So this is about power? Serenity asked. No, Harmony said sweetly. It's about order, and you refuse to fall in line. Serenity swallowed her heartbreak. So you destroyed my job? Harmony didn't deny it. Instead, she delivered the final blow with surgical precision. You made this easy for Pastor, she said. All I had to do was tell the truth. Click. Harmony hung up. Serenity stared at her phone, hands numb. That evening, Serenity's mother called. Serenity? Serenity's mother's voice was tight. Pastor Shepherd called us. He's concerned about your spiritual rebellion. Her father spoke in the background. We raised you better than this. Serenity closed her eyes. They don't want me to think, she whispered. They want me to submit. Her mother responded sharply. Submit to your leaders. That's biblical. No. Serenity's voice cracked. Submission is mutual.
Control is abuse. But her parents weren't listening. Their loyalty had already been bought by the pastor who claimed authority. When manipulation hides behind scripture, control becomes holy and obedience becomes bondage. Serenity sat alone in her apartment that night. The silence was loud. Her heart was sore. She had lost her fiancé, her best friend, her job security, her parents' support, her reputation at church, not because she sinned, but because she stopped bowing. She slid to the floor, tears dripping onto the hardwood. "God," she whispered, voice breaking, "why am I losing everything?" A stillness filled the room. Her heart whispered back, "You're not losing, you're being freed." And for the first time, she believed it, because something had shifted. Serenity was running out of things to lose, which meant she was running out of reasons to stay. And soon, she would walk away, not quietly, not politely, not broken, but whole. Peace was calling, and Serenity was finally ready to answer.
Serenity stood outside Restoration Tabernacle Church, staring at the tall, stained glass windows, glowing like judgmental eyes. Rain fell, steady and cold, soaking her through. She wasn't here for worship. She wasn't here for closure. She was here for truth. Inside, a leadership meeting was happening. The same group who had been shaping her destruction. Brother Saint, Sister Angel, Harmony, Pastor Shepherd, and one more name now drawn into their orbit, Ethan, her ex-fiancé. Serenity inhaled deeply and walked through the doors. She stepped in quietly, unnoticed at first. Voices murmured over coffee cups and notepads. Then Pastor Shepherd saw her. The room stilled. Everyone froze, except Sister Angel, whose smile spread slowly like spilled oil. "Well, well," she said sweetly, "look who finally bowed enough to return." Serenity didn't flinch. Pastor Shepherd clasped his hands, like a king ready to address a peasant. "Serenity, we didn't invite you to this meeting." She held his gaze. "And yet, here I am." A ripple of shock passed through the room. Brother Saint leaned back in his chair, smirking. Someone's feeling bold. Harmony wouldn't meet Serenity's eyes. Ethan shifted uncomfortably. Serenity took a step forward. "No more whispers. No more secret conversations about me. If you're going to destroy my life, you're going to do it with your faces visible." Pastor Shepherd chuckled condescendingly. "Destroy your life? Serenity, we're trying to correct you." Brother Saint chimed in. "You isolated yourself." Sister Angel nodded. "You defied spiritual authority." Harmony added, voice shaking slightly. "You refused accountability." Serenity's voice cut through the room like a blade. "I refused control." When you stop fearing the people who feed on your silence, their power dissolves. Serenity pulled a folded paper from her bag and placed it on the table. "What's this?" Pastor Shepherd asked. "A copy of the workplace complaint submitted about me, with exact phrasing from our counseling sessions." Harmony stiffened. Angel blinked. Pastor Shepherd's jaw twitched. Serenity continued. "It only contained words I said in confidence, in your office." She looked straight at Harmony. You told my job that I'm mentally unstable. Harmony flinched. Her lips parted. That's not... Pastor said... Pastor Shepherd slammed his fist on the table. Enough! His voice reverberated off the walls. He stood, eyes burning with ego and rage. You are rebellious. You disrespect authority. God will not honor you. Serenity tilted her head slightly. God won't honor you if you steal his throne. Gasps. Brother Saint snorted. Sister Angel shot to her feet. Pastor Shepherd's face contorted with anger. You came here broken, and we fixed you. No, Serenity said, her voice calm. I came here whole, and you broke me. Ethan finally spoke. Shepherd told us you were unpredictable, that you needed guidance. Serenity looked at him, really looked at him. Ethan, he convinced you to break off our engagement. Ethan swallowed. He said you were a distraction from my calling. Serenity's heart clenched at the admission. Not because she wanted him back, but because she finally saw what she was up against. A cult of personality, with Shepherd as the deity. Ethan, she said quietly, when was the last time you made a decision without his approval? Ethan's face paled. Pastor Shepherd pointed at Serenity, voice venomous. Leave this church. You are not welcome here. Serenity smiled, small but powerful. Oh, I left long before this moment. I just came back to collect my peace. Sister Angel hissed. You will regret this. Serenity looked at Angel with an expression she didn't know she possessed. I don't fear demons wearing designer suits. The room erupted. Voices shot across the table. Accusations flew. Lines were drawn. But Serenity didn't stay to hear it. She walked out, her heels striking the floor like punctuation marks. Not running, not broken, leaving. Outside the church, the rain had stopped. The night was quiet. Serenity stood beneath the streetlights, breathing in cool air that tasted like freedom. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. You did the right thing. Peace is waiting. There was no name attached, no signature, just truth. She didn't know who sent it, but for the first time in months, she didn't care. She turned, walking towards her car, feeling lighter with every step. Behind her, inside the church, voices rose. Arguments, chaos, accusations. They had turned on each other. Serenity whispered to the night, peace doesn't require permission. She drove away, from the noise, from the manipulation, from the wolves.
1 month later, the sunrise painted the sky with soft shades of gold and apricot as Serenity's car rolled to a stop in front of a church she had never seen before. The building wasn't flashy, no massive screens, no ego-sized posters of pastors plastered everywhere, just warm brick walls and hand-painted flowers along the walkway. It felt like peace had left the door open for her. Serenity turned off the engine and sat quietly, fingers resting on the steering wheel. Her heart softly trembled, part nerves, part anticipation. God, I'm here. I don't know what comes next, but I'm choosing peace. She inhaled deeply and stepped out. Every step toward the church doors felt like she was shedding something heavy. Fear, expectations, people-pleasing. Inside, soft music filled the sanctuary. Gentle acoustic guitar, and a voice that sounded like honey melting into warm bread. No shouting, no performance, no manipulation, just worship. People talked casually, smiling, hugging, laughing without pretense. No one turned to stare as she walked in. No scanning glance to judge her clothes or her posture. For the first time in a long time, Serenity was invisible, and it was beautiful. A woman approached her, a real smile, warm eyes, hair graying at the temples like earned wisdom. "Hi, sweetheart. Welcome to New Haven. I'm Sister Joy," she said. Not angel, not harmony. Joy. Simple. Genuine. Ironic in the sweetest, purest way. "I'm Serenity," she responded. Joy chuckled. "Peace and joy meeting at the same time. Sounds like a setup." They shared a laugh. Not the polite, rehearsed laughter she used to give at Restoration Tabernacle. This one reached her soul. Peace doesn't greet you with trumpets. Sometimes it just sits beside you quietly and lets you breathe. During worship, Serenity watched people raise their hands freely without being told to push harder or give more. Tears slid down her face, not from pain, but from the release of realizing she felt safe. No one demanded anything from her. No one watched her offering plate. No one whispered about her business. She was worshiping without surveillance. The sermon begins. A man walked up to the podium. Early 30s, tall, warm brown skin, deep, thoughtful eyes. His presence was calm, not dominating, not theatrical. He opened the Bible and spoke without shouting. "Family, today's message is simple. Peace is not the absence of people. Peace is the presence of God in your choices." She froze. Every word hit her chest like truth she had been starving for. He continued, "Some of you have been told that loyalty means staying in toxic places, but sometimes walking away is the most spiritual act of obedience." Her breath caught. Joy leaned over, whispering, "That's Micah, our lead pastor." Micah. The name washed over her like a warm breeze. He finished the sermon not with a call to the altar, but a call to the heart. After service, as people mingled, Serenity tried to slip toward the door. She didn't want attention, didn't want eyes on her story, didn't want to explain why she left her old church. But as she reached for the door handle, a voice stopped her. "Hey, new face?" She turned. Micah stood there. Calm smile, hands in pockets. Serenity's throat tightened. She gave a soft nod. "Yes. First time here." "How'd it feel?" he asked gently. Serenity followed. "It felt like breathing, like my soul stopped whispering and finally exhaled." Micah didn't rush to fill the silence. He let her words exist. "Good," he said softly. "You're safe here." Those words cracked something open inside her. Not because she believed him instantly, but because he wasn't trying to convince her. People at Restoration had chased her story. Micah protected her silence. He continued, "If you ever want to talk, I'm here. But if not, that's okay too." She nodded, tears threatening. "Thank you, Pastor Micah." He shook his head. "Just Micah," he smiled. "Titles get in the way of people." They shared a moment of quiet understanding. Peace had a voice now. Over the next weeks, Serenity kept attending New Haven. No one interrogated her. No one asked why she left her previous church. No one demanded she serve, tithe, volunteer, or prove her worth. Peace held space for her healing. Micah would greet her warmly each Sunday. Sometimes they exchanged short conversations. Other times, just smiles. Slowly, the walls she built around her heart began to crumble. Not from pressure, but from gentleness. She journaled more. She prayed without fear. Her nightmares stopped. Serenity was becoming someone new. 2 months later, it happened on a Tuesday. Serenity was in a cozy corner at a cafe, laptop open, working, earbuds in. She didn't notice someone standing at her table until a shadow crossed her notebook. She looked up. Micah, carrying coffee. He said, "I realized I've gotten used to seeing you at church every week, and missing you feels strange." Serenity's heart fluttered. I didn't know pastors noticed things like that. He leaned back, studying her, not as a pastor, but as a man. I didn't know I would either. Silence stretched between them, a soft, warm thread. "Can I take you to dinner sometime?" he asked low. Serenity felt peace settle over her like a blanket. She didn't feel pressured. She didn't feel inspected. She felt seen. "Yes," she whispered. "You can." Sometimes peace doesn't arrive quietly. Sometimes it walks in holding coffee. Their first date. Dinner was simple. A small riverside restaurant, soft music, fireflies dancing above the water like tiny lanterns. No church talk, no trauma talk, just laughter. They talked about childhood dreams, silly fears, things that made them belly laugh. Micah didn't touch her hand. He didn't lean in. He didn't try to impress. He let her lead. On the walk back to her car, the night breeze tangled her curls. Serenity shivered. Micah noticed and slipped off his jacket. "Here, peace shouldn't be cold." She laughed softly. "Did you major in poetic one-liners?" "No," he grinned. "I just like your smile." Serenity's pulse stumbled. He wasn't healing her. He was giving her space to heal herself. Over the next year, love blossomed naturally. No control, no spiritual manipulation, no competition. Just partnership. Micah met her family respectfully. Her best friend adored him. Even her coworkers noticed Serenity had a glow they hadn't seen in years. On a quiet evening, under a rainfall of fairy lights in the courtyard of New Haven Chapel, Micah knelt on one knee. "Serenity Grace, you walked away from what broke you and walked into my life. Will you walk the rest of the journey with me?" Tears poured. She whispered, "Yes." When Serenity stood at the altar, looking into Micah's eyes, she realized the old Serenity died at Restoration Tabernacle. But here she resurrected. When she said her vows, her voice was steady. "I choose peace over people. I choose God's voice over man's. And I choose you because loving you feels like peace." Micah kissed her, and the audience erupted. Not in performance, in joy.
8 months later, Serenity sat in Eden's living room, surrounded by bridal magazines and fabric swatches. Eden was sprawled on the carpet like a child planning a dream birthday party. "No, ma'am," Eden said, pointing a pen dramatically at Serenity. "You're not wearing white roses. That's what brides wear when they want to look mature and safe. You're wearing peonies, bold, expensive, and impossible to ignore." Serenity laughed until her side hurt. Micah walked in carrying drinks, pausing with amused suspicion. "What are you two plotting?" Eden whispered loudly, Your future wife is about to serve main character energy at that altar. Serenity blushed. Micah leaned over and kissed her forehead, then returned to his office. Eden watched him disappear and sighed. Girl, marry him twice. Serenity smiled. Peace had a face, and she was in love with it. 3 days later, Serenity was at work when her phone buzzed. A message from Harmony. Hey, can we talk? It's important. Serenity froze. Harmony. The same Harmony who filed workplace complaints against her. For a moment, Serenity considered ignoring it. Then another message came. Shepard wants to meet with you. She stared at the screen. Her lungs tightened. Old fear tried to resurface, creeping like cold water around her ankles. But she closed her eyes and inhaled. She wasn't the woman they broke. She was the woman who healed. She texted back. There is nothing left to talk about. 5 minutes later, her phone rang. Pastor Shepard. She let it ring. When it stopped, she exhaled, relief washing over her. Then it rang again, this time from an unknown number. She answered. Serenity Grace? A man's voice, clipped, arrogant. Pastor Shepard. We need to talk. Serenity's grip tightened on the phone. No, you need to talk, she replied. I'm done listening. You are out of order, he thundered. Serenity's voice stayed level. And you are out of access. There was silence. He hadn't expected that. When peace enters the room, control loses its power. Later that evening, she told Micah everything. He listened, jaw tightening, eyes darkened, not with jealousy, with protective focus. Do you want me to call him? Micah asked. No, Serenity said softly. I want to handle this myself. Micah nodded. He didn't try to take over her battle. He stood beside her while she fought it. Sunday morning, Serenity and Micah stepped out of the car at New Haven Chapel. Eden met them at the entrance. You look like royalty, Eden said. Serenity smiled, until she saw them. Brother Saint, Sister Angel, Harmony. And behind them, Pastor Shepard. Standing on the sidewalk outside New Haven, he wore a forced smile beneath a heavy coat of arrogance. Serenity, he said loudly, we came to bring you back. Back, as if she was property. Micah stepped forward, calm, protective. This is not your church, Shepard said sharply. This is an interference with the calling on her life. Micah stood tall. This is where she chose to worship. Angel sneered. She is deceived. Serenity spoke, her voice steady, spine straight, eyes unblinking. No, I was deceived when I believed manipulation was love, when I confused control with accountability, and when I thought abuse was spiritual correction. Shepard's face cracked. Serenity continued. You preached peace, but fed on chaos. You called it unity, but demanded obedience. You said it was God, but it was ego. Gasps from the small crowd gathering nearby. Angel hissed, You're acting emotional. Serenity stepped closer. You dismissed my pain as emotion so you could keep your power. Harmony's eyes welled with tears, guilt creeping in. Pastor Shepard leaned forward, with venom on his tongue. You are making a mistake.
Serenity smiled gently. No, the mistake was thinking I needed your approval to be free. Micah reached for her hand. She laced her fingers through his. Shepard looked at Micah, voice shaking with hate. You stole her from us. Micah shook his head slowly. No, Shepard. She walked away from you, and I simply met her on the path to peace. Angel spat. You'll regret leaving us. Serenity's eyes softened. No anger, no fear. I don't regret leaving pain. I regret staying as long as I did. They turned and walked away, hand in hand, leaving the wolves on the sidewalk, powerless. Peace doesn't fight for people. Peace walks away.
9 months later, sunlight bathed the courtyard of New Haven Chapel in soft gold. White lanterns swayed gently from tree branches. Peonies lined the aisle, Eden insisted, and a soft string quartet played You Are My Peace. Serenity stood behind the chapel doors, veil cascading down like a waterfall of hope. Eden adjusted the veil with trembling hands. You ready? She whispered. Serenity exhaled slowly. I've been ready since the day I walked away. Eden smiled, a smile full of pride, of sisterhood, of new beginnings. You walked away from chaos, Eden murmured, and God walked you right into a promise. They linked fingers for a moment. Best friends, not by history, by alignment. God replaces what was lost, not with equal, but with better. The ceremony begins. Music swelled. Micah walked to the altar in a fitted suit, steady and confident, but his eyes betrayed him, shimmering with wonder and disbelief. New Haven Chapel was full, every seat filled with people who loved Serenity, not for what she could do, not for how useful she was, for who she was. Eden walked halfway down the aisle, then paused and turned to Serenity. You don't follow this aisle, she said. Serenity blinked. What? Eden pointed. You lead it. The doors opened wide. Serenity stepped into the courtyard. A wind lifted her veil. The crowd gasped. Micah's breath caught in his chest. He whispered, barely audible to himself, Peace looks like her. As she walked down the aisle, images flashed through her mind. Pastor Shepard pointing a judging finger. Sister Angel whispering poison. Harmony crying as she betrayed her trust. Ethan turning away from her. But then, she saw Eden, her family, her healing, Micah. The past faded like smoke slipping through her fingers. She reached the altar. Micah took her hand. You look like answered prayer. Serenity smiled. You look like peace, fulfilled. The pastor, not Micah this time, began the vows. Repeat after me. They held hands, eyes locked at each other. Micah said, I don't want to lead your life. I want to walk beside it. Serenity responded, I don't want to be your mission. I want to be your partner. I will protect your peace, Serenity. Serenity responded, I will honor your purpose. Together, we choose us. The pastor asked, Do you, Serenity, Grace, take Micah, Rivers, to be your husband? She didn't hesitate. In choosing peace, I found love. Yes, 1,000 times yes. They kissed. It wasn't dramatic. It was holy. Not performance. Presence. Applause erupted. Thunderous, joyful, real. Eden screamed at the top of her lungs, "That's my best friend!" Everyone laughed. The courtyard shimmered like heaven spilled onto earth. Meanwhile, across town, Restoration Tabernacle was falling apart. Membership had dropped. Tithes had dried up. Leadership was unraveling. Pastor Shepherd stood in his office surrounded by empty chairs. Brother Saint had quit the church after rumors surfaced about financial misconduct. Sister Angel was exposed for manipulating new members. And Harmony, she was packing her office. She held a framed group photo, Serenity smiling with all of them around her. The memory hit her. So much love that day. So much poison underneath. Tears slid down Harmony's cheeks. "For what?" she whispered. "For control?" Her phone vibrated. A wedding photo of Serenity and Micah appeared on social media. Serenity glowing, Micah looking at her like she hung the stars. Harmony broke. She sat on the floor, sobbing. She whispered into the empty room, "I should have protected you." Back at the wedding reception, fairy lights twinkled overhead. Music pulsed, soft jazz, warm laughter. Micah guided Serenity onto the dance floor. "Mrs. Rivers," he murmured, savoring the words. She grinned. "You like saying that?" "I love saying it." They danced slowly, forehead to forehead. Eden wiped tears from her eyes. "You did it," she whispered from the table. "You saved your peace." Serenity leaned into Micah. "Promise me something. Anything. If I ever forget who I am, I'll remind you. And if anyone tries to steal your peace," he kissed her forehead, "I will guard it with my life." She closed her eyes. For the first time in years, she felt safe. She didn't just walk away. She walked towards everything she deserved.
6 months after the wedding, the first golden leaves of autumn floated lazily from the trees outside Serenity and Micah's home. Peace had settled over her life like a blanket, soft, warm, and secure. But peace, Serenity had learned, was tested most fiercely when it seemed untouchable. It was a crisp Saturday morning. Serenity and Micah were enjoying coffee on the porch, watching the neighborhood kids chase each other across manicured lawns. Eden was inside, helping organize Serenity's new boutique, a dream she had nurtured quietly for years. The peaceful hum of life was interrupted by the shrill honk of a car. A sleek black SUV pulled up in front of the house. Serenity instinctively squinted. Her heart froze. From the driver's seat, Harmony stepped out. Not smiling, not apologetic, not hopeful. Just calculated. And behind her, almost like a shadowy echo, was Sister Angel. Serenity's breath hitched. The past had arrived at her doorstep. Harmony approached the porch first, her heels clicking like warning shots. "Serenity," she said, voice low, almost pleading, almost threatening. "I need to talk to you. It's urgent." Serenity set down her coffee, gaze steady, spine straight. "Harmony, you have 5 seconds to explain why you're here, before I call the police." Harmony's eyes darted to Sister Angel, who leaned against the SUV with a smirk, arms folded. "This isn't about me," she said quickly. "It's about them, Restoration Tabernacle. Pastor Shepherd, they're in trouble. They need you to come back. They can't keep control. They're falling apart." Serenity blinked. Confusion and disbelief wrestled inside her. "And you thought showing up at my home, my married home, was the way to fix it?" Harmony hesitated. I thought you could help."
Serenity laughed softly, a sound sharp and brittle. Help them. I already walked away when it mattered. You walked away from loyalty when it was convenient, and now you bring them here? Sister Angel stepped forward, voice dripping with venomous sweetness. You think peace protects you? You think love shields you? Everything you built is fragile, Serenity, and we will tear it down. Serenity's hands clenched around the porch railing, pulse racing, but her voice was calm. You've already tried. You failed. Micah stood behind her, protective and unshakable. They've got nothing here, he said quietly, voice low and steady. You don't get to touch her life anymore. Sister Angel's smile faltered. Not here, Serenity said softly, letting the words carry like a sword. Not ever again. The wolves always return when they smell strength, but the brave don't run. They stand. Harmony's moment. Harmony's eyes filled with tears. Serenity, I didn't want it to end this way. I didn't know how to fight the fear Pastor Shepherd put in me. Serenity's gaze softened, just slightly. Fear makes puppets of us all, but you chose obedience to a man over your friendship with me. You don't get to erase that. You can't apologize for what you refused to protect. Harmony lowered her head. Yes, and now I see I can't change the past. Sister Angel glared, her plans unraveling before her eyes. You think this ends here? She hissed. Serenity shook her head. No, but it ends with me walking forward, not backward. The women finally turned, muttering and simmering, and walked back to the SUV. Harmony hesitated at the door. She glanced back at Serenity, a flicker of guilt and understanding crossing her face. I hope you're happy, she said softly, then got in. The engine roared and they drove away. Micah wrapped his arm around Serenity, pulling her close. You handled that beautifully, he said. I handled it with peace, she replied. And peace is stronger than fear, stronger than manipulation, stronger than people who think they control destiny. Eden emerged from the house, cheering, Victory! Glory! Micah! Mrs. Rivers! You survived the wolves! Serenity laughed, a full, deep laugh that vibrated through her chest. Yes, she said, eyes shining. I survived, and this time, nothing can take it from me. Peace is not the absence of conflict. Peace is the presence of God in the middle of it. Serenity didn't just survive the wolves, she became untouchable.
6 months after the wolves retreated, the sun had just begun its climb over the horizon, painting the sky with shades of amber and rose. Serenity stood in the garden of her home, barefoot on the dew-kissed grass, breathing in the fresh morning air. Peace wasn't just a feeling anymore, it was a lifestyle, a choice, a tangible part of her being. Beside her, Micah held her hand, fingers entwined like roots of an unshakable tree. Eden sipped her tea nearby, smiling with the joy of someone who had watched a friend rise from ashes into light. A week earlier, Serenity had received an envelope. No stamp, no return address, just Restoration Tabernacle Church, printed neatly across the front. She hesitated, heart pounding, fingers trembling. But she opened it. Inside was a single page. Serenity, we have reflected on our actions. We understand now that our authority was abused, and you were wronged. We apologize for our part in your suffering. We wish you peace. Serenity read it twice, then folded it carefully. She turned to Micah. Do you think they mean it? He smiled softly. Whether they do or not doesn't matter. You've already healed. Peace doesn't require acknowledgement." She nodded, and for the first time in years, she forgave them. Not for them, but for her. Harmony knocked a few days later. Serenity opened the door. She looked different now, older, humbler, no smoke of ambition in her eyes. I'm sorry," Harmony said simply. Serenity studied her, feeling no trace of bitterness, only clarity. "You hurt me," Serenity replied honestly, "but I've chosen pace over pain. Forgiveness doesn't mean trust. It means release." Harmony's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." And for the first time, they hugged, a hug of closure, not ownership. At New Haven Chapel, Serenity continued her quiet ministry. She led small groups, helped with community programs, and encouraged women who had been silenced by fear or manipulation. Her story, once riddled with betrayal, became a beacon of hope. Micah stood by her, not as a savior, but as a partner. Together, they created a space where love, respect, and peace reigned. Eden became more than a friend. She was family. Their bond was forged in the fires of the past, but strengthened in freedom. Serenity often reflected, "I didn't just walk away from people. I walked toward peace, and peace walked me right into life." Years later, Serenity and Micah's home was warm with laughter and the smell of fresh bread. Their children played in the yard, Eden was teaching nearby, and the walls of their house echoed with the music of life. Real life, unscripted, unmanipulated. Every Sunday, Serenity would kneel in prayer, not for validation, not for control, but in gratitude. For God's voice, for her heart, for the peace she had finally chosen. And somewhere in the quiet corners of her memory, she remembered the wolves, not with fear, not with anger, but with clarity. They had chased her. They had tried to break her, but she had walked away, and in doing so, she had found herself. The world will always demand obedience, approval, submission, but there is a voice louder than people, louder than fear, louder than wolves, the voice of peace. Serenity heard it, followed it, and finally, she lived it.
Thanks for tuning in to Stories by Coco. If you want to hear more stories, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. Until next time, guard your peace.